Let's talk a little bit about the fullbacks. Obviously, Chris High is the bell cow now.
Right.
Do you anticipate that Chris High will carry the load in a fashion of maybe a guy like Katani and some others that really you want to give a high percentage of carries to?
I think we've got two guys that can carry the load. I mean,
Okay.
between Chris and Josh. Josh comes a long way in a short time. We got a lot of good reps in the spring, mentally more than physically. But
Yeah, I know he didn't
he
compete in the spring.
Right, he didn't have any contact in the spring, but he's recovering from a shoulder, so now he's been full speed the whole camp, and he's done a nice job picking things up. He's a smart kid. He understands the game. Having played A-back, he has a better understanding of the offense. Kind of sees it from a different perspective, so he's able to tie some of the stuff he knew in as an A-back. Now he's transitioning to his B-back knowledge.
How would you assess the season Chris High had last year?
I think there were parts of it that were really good. There were parts of it that were disappointing. I mean, he missed a handful of games there because of injury, and that's something that we've got to correct if we can. We got to try and keep him healthy throughout the duration of the year.
Right.
He can't miss a stretch of 3 or 4 games for us to be successful this year.
Right. What do you feel like he's worked on? I mean, when coming into this year, what would you like to see Chris High do better in terms of being a fullback?
I mean, physically, he's done a lot of nice things for us over the last couple of years, and I think one big thing was taking ownership of the group and being a true leader in there and really helping develop some of the younger guys that are going to have to step up and play for us at some point, and just be a leader, really. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Physically, he knows what to do. He knows how to do it. He knows how we want to do it. Now he's just got to go do it on a consistent basis and to take ownership of that group.
You think Chris High could be as good as any fullback you've had here, like a Swain, like a Katani? Can he be a 1,000-yard rusher type fullback?
Oh, man, we'll have to see how this one plays out, but I'd love to see that. I'd love to see him have a successful senior year, achieve some of his personal goals as well as our team goals, and I think he can do that. He can do those things. It's just going to be see how things play out, see how teams are playing us, and when the fullback's there, he's got to make him count.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a physical guy. We know that. I mean, that's really probably his thing. I don't know that he's a breakaway. I mean, you describe him to me if you could.
I think he's got a combination of it all. I mean, he can be physical in the box. He can be efficient on the perimeter. He's kind of a combination of it all, and he's got to be a good pass protector for us. But he's not a 240-pound Chris Swain, but he's not a 205-pound Quentin Singleton either. So he's kind of right in the middle. He's that 220 to 230-pound guy that's going to be able to do a lot for us. And the more versatile we can be at the position, the more effective, the more versatile we're going to be on offense.
What made you all move Walker from slot to fullback? What kind of led you to think that was a good idea?
Oh, I think part of it was need. And then part of it was the depth that we have at A-back. I mean, Coach O'Rourke's got a pretty deep group, 1 through 6, can all play and have played meaningful reps on the depth. So Josh was another guy in that room that we needed to find a way to get onto the field, and we had a need at fullback, and so he's been able to answer that call.
What's he bring to the table?
He's a former A-back, so he's got to have some good speed. He's got speed. He's got great hands. He's got a great knowledge of the offense. He can help us on special teams. He brings a lot of things that we're looking for at the position.
How did he jump over some guys that were ahead of him? Obviously, with not being able to compete in the spring, you had guys like Hammond and some other guys that had moved up the depth chart. How did he jump over them to get into the backup spot at this point?
Well, I think some of it was mental, taking tests over the summer and continue to progress mentally, understanding the position. But the kids also played meaningful snaps for us, whether it was on special teams or at A-back. So you knew he could play at the level that we were looking for. And so now we just have to give him the opportunity to show that he could do it at fullback, and he hasn't given it up. It was his spot to lose, and he hasn't lost it.
So what is going on behind him? I mean, you have a guy like Gargula who was third team last year. I would have thought he would have stepped up. I mean, frankly, the backup job was his for the taking, and it doesn't look like he took it. You had your guy that was the Admiral Mack Award winner. I guess that's Hammond, right?
Right.
And there's a different guy on third on the depth chart at the moment.
Yeah, like Miles Benning, Gargiulo, Nelson Smith is in the mix, Mike Martin's in the mix, Achille Taylor. All those guys are still fighting it out for that third and fourth spot. Nothing's really separating them, and ultimately special teams and their versatility. The more that they can do, the more valuable they will be. And spots are limited on the bus, and so whoever can help us in the most amount of ways is going to probably travel.
So what you're saying is it looks like it's High 1A, Walker 1B, and then the next group.
And then there's a big group of guys between Garge and Benning and Nelson Smith just got some reps today. He's a young guy that hasn't had a chance to show us much yet, but on the scout field he did a lot of good things. So now we're going to give him a chance to look here this week and see where he goes from there.
All right. So, Coach had told me coming into the year that depth of fullback was a concern. Is it still?
I think the 1-2 is good. I think we're really happy with Chris and Josh, and then after that, we still don't know. I mean, none of those guys have really played a meaningful rep at fullback. So until they do it, we won't know. But we just got to take the best guess and make sure that mentally that they can do what we need them to do.
Right. All right. Thanks, Coach.
So total, I missed 3 games where I did not play at all. But in total, I probably say I missed 5 because the Houston game, I missed. I only played the first quarter, the what else game, and then Notre Dame. I didn't even make it to the second half, so I count 5 games.
All right. So, is that probably number one goal is to make it through a full season?
Honestly, no. The number one goal is to put my body out there for my team, for my brothers, and I want to make it through the end of the season, and that is my goal, yes, sir.
Coach just told me that one of the things he wanted to see you do this season is take leadership of the room. Can you talk about that and the responsibility as a senior, a guy who's played, to lead these other fullbacks?
With leadership over the room, is very tough, just because you have the new plebes coming in, and then you also have the players who've been there already, and they already understand the system. So it's trying to get everybody on the same track, but once everyone is on the same track, then we're good to go.
So last year was your first time you really getting some serious playing time. What did you learn about the position? I mean, a lot of the fullbacks I talk to talk about it, how it's hard to get used to seeing within the hole and knowing when to make the cuts. It's something that comes with time. Is that something that clicked for you last year?
Yes, sir, definitely. Especially throughout practice, just running over and running over and running over again. Like, you often, everything, the way it's drawn up on the board, it starts to just come out exactly how it is on the field. And you also, the way Coach Judge shows it, he shows exactly where the hole is going to be, so you know exactly what to expect.
So going into this year, obviously, being the returning guy, how important is it for you to kind of set the tone for I mean, you're one of the proven weapons in this offense, along with a guy like Bonner, but there's been a lot of losses elsewhere, other slots, receivers, quarterback. You're kind of a proven guy and need to step up, don't you feel?
But at the same time, the way our offense works, it's always the next man up, and we have tons of other guys ready to tote the rock or make that block or make that pass in order to spring the guy to the touchdown and win us the game.
You to make the switch from slot to fullback, and you spent a couple years practicing and learning as a slot. Was that a disappointment, or did you feel it showed that they liked you and wanted you to have a bigger role?
I was just excited because I knew I was going to get more time to play at B-back than I was today, and I just embraced it.
You look a little bit bigger than last year. Knowing that you were going to fullback, did you try to do anything to bulk up? Have you added weight since last season?
I have added weight.
About how much?
Probably 10 pounds.
All right. Do you feel stronger? Did you really make a concerted effort to get in the weight room and become stronger, knowing you're going to take a pounding? That fullback gets hit hard, man.
Yes, I wanted to build some body armor to take the abuse.
So, how would you say it's different? What's the difference between slot? Obviously, you're coming from a different spot on the field, but just tell us what has been the hard part of the transition for you?
I guess at A-back, your plays, but it's really anything outside. And then at B-back, you got to know what every lineman does and know which way he's going to block and where you can make your cut. So it's just really knowing the whole offense as a whole instead of just your own one job.
Right. You didn't practice in the spring. That seemed like a big missed opportunity for you. You're switching positions. You're trying to learn a new position. What were you able to do during the spring to improve yourself, to learn to be a fullback, even though you weren't practicing?
They let me go through the tracks, so I knew the 12 track or the 10 track, and then just studied a lot of plays and watching film and stuff. So when summer came, I could be ready.
So has number 33 helped you? Has he been a mentor?
You can say so.
Yeah. Okay. Because Coach Judge said he needs to take leadership of the room as a senior veteran. Has he done that? All seriously, been a leader?
He has been a leader. He has. He's stepped up to the plate in a big way.
So obviously, coming out of the spring, you weren't on the depth chart because of the fact that you didn't practice. Other guys were ahead of you. How did you leapfrog and get into the backup spot? What have you done this camp to show something?
I think it's just effort. Just want to go out there and give them all every play and try to read the right blocks and just run.
What about the blocking element? Because the fullback has some serious blocking responsibilities, pass protection, and and things with when the slots run the ball. You got to lead block.
The lead block, I got that down, but the pass protection, I got to work on that.
Right, that's a little more difficult.
Yes, sir.